Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I have something a little bit unusual to tell you about before I go into today's meditation. This morning I was watching a reading by Libby over at Meister Tarot about past lives. And she started talking about a certain individual's past life, and I got the uber creepies about it. It was the energy was very, very intense. It was very, very massive. And the first part of that video was very hard for me to watch, actually, because of the discussion of the topic of it. But at any rate, she did the reading, and then she got to talking about her own past life and very, very interesting stuff. I've always believed in reincarnation. I've always believed that it is actually possible that we lived before as other individuals and what have you. But, it was not something that I really delved very far deeply into. And what ultimately happened is right after I watched that video, I decided to do the meditation. I just felt very, very drawn to doing it. And so the discussion of it is of a very esoteric nature. So if you're not into the esoterics of reincarnation, then this video may not be one for you to watch. But if it is, then I'm going to go ahead and do the meditation. I'm putting a lot of warnings on it because I don't want anybody to start, putting me down or anything, because this is what I got. This is what came to me. And, it's different. It's a little bit different, and it's not what I expected or anticipated. And it's actually not something that I really thought about. So, which is why it kind of freaked me out after I got done. So, without further ado, here's day number 9. This is February 7th, 2025 of the Metatron 21-day meditation challenge. Okay. I started out saying, Metatron, I'm having a massive energy surge. He says, yes, I know. You just watched something that exposed you to some very dark energies. It was important to see it, but also important to let it go. The message contained within it was very clear to you, and this exposed you to something dark. I said, I got visual images about horrible and heartbreaking time in human history. The images made me want to cry. And he says, yes, I know. The images you got were horrible, and you saw something that gave you chills and caused you to feel, to reflect on the past. I said, was it my past life? It was part of your past life, yes. I said, was I in Europe during the war? He said, yes, you were a proprietor of a shop in the south of France. You had many Jewish customers, and you saw heartbreak on the faces of each person that came into your shop. As the war came closer to your door, you saw people touched by it. There was an instance when you saw soldiers marching down the streets. The rifles slung over their backs appeared like spears. You closed the window, lowered the blinds. A small sign in front window you turned over, the word said closed. You walked away from the window, walked to the back of the shop, sat down on the floor. With your knees pulled to your chest, you cried. I always thought that I was alive during that time, but I never really asked about it. My mind was at the point of thinking, what was the point? I am here now. True, he says, but as you observed the video, you have to see some of your earlier experiences to see what your path is like now. I said, okay, what else can you tell me? What was I, male or female? You were male. Most shop owners in that area of France were. I said, was I part of the French resistance? Yes, you and many were subtly a part of the resistance. You were not very vocal about your resistance. You did what you did in the shadows, hiding people, protecting your compatriots, and so on. Did my life end during the war? No, you survived, but transitioned soon after. I said, what sort of shop did I own? And he said, it was a bakery. I said, was I married? No, you were not. You left the shop to the son of one of your friends who had been slain during the war. I said, it sounds like I was a rather lonely person. No spouse, no family, no one to continue the business. He said, you were a free spirit. You had many friends, and the idea of saying friends and friends or family. During your final years, you traveled around the country and experienced some of the finer things. Was I wealthy? No, you were an average person with not a lot of wealth, but you did enjoy having a glass or two of wine. Interesting. I never thought that I could have been a small business owner, but it does explain why I find myself wanting to support small businesses. Can I ask about another life? Of course. I've always had an aversion to anything to do with the Titanic. Can you enlighten me as to why? And he says, you were there. You lost your life after the ship hit the iceberg. I said, I remember when I was a teenager, I positively got chills when I saw those images. That chandelier was the one thing that made me feel positively sick. People couldn't understand why I refused to watch anything about it. I never thought it was that big of a deal, but I was sometimes considered strange for adamantly refusing to watch that movie. He says it hit too close to home with you. I think you could sense that even at a young age, you were not at all interested in contending with it. You had realized that the whole fascination with it was not your cup of tea, but obviously you avoided anything about it because you were there. So was the flapper woman I saw on the ship some years ago, was she me? No, she was your great-grandmother, but this was a woman you never met. She was the birth mother of your grandfather. You know that your grandfather was adopted. Well, she was the woman who gave up your grandfather for adoption. Everything is so convoluted, I said. He says it is, but that is how internally uh, woven things are, how internally woven things are. I said, so let me get this straight. My grandfather was born in the 1920s, thereabouts. The woman I saw was dressed as a flapper, so she was really young when my grandfather was born. Yes, she was young, around 19 years old when your grandfather was born. She was single at the time, so she gave him up for adoption soon after he was born. I said, that's wild. My mind is blown here. There are a lot of There are some 3 of my questions answered, and it's all because I watched a video this morning. It truly is extraordinary how that goes. And he said, yes, indeed. So, okay, I will say this as a disclaimer. I do not know if this is actual reality about my grandfather. I do know he was adopted, but I don't know anything else about the families or anything or what was involved or why and hows and all that. I have no idea about that. This is just what came to me. And I thought, wow, this is kind of wild. The Titanic thing, yes, I have always had an aversion to the Titanic. Anything about it just kind of creeps me out, and it kind of makes me like back off about any discussion or any film reviews or even the song. I like the song My Life Will Go On or whatever, the Celine Dion song. I like that a lot, but I won't watch the video of it because it has clips from the movie and I can't handle that. So there's a lot of things like that that are just like really kind of crazy, but that's the way it is. The other thing that I wanted to mention as far as the French Resistance life was concerned, I had no idea about that. I had absolutely no idea about that. I have always been fascinated with it, but with that time in history and why the whys and hows of why people got so caught up in all of that and into that ideology and all that. But I never imagined that I was actually there or in Europe at that time period. There was never any inclination of me to actually explore that. So I have to say thanks to Libby for tuning me into that idea that maybe there's something going on and something to further research about it. But I just thought that was very, very interesting. I thought it was very, very fascinating that I was a small business owner, that I had a bakery, that that's just kind of weird. It's just something that I never thought about and never really put any emphasis on. So. So that's the meditation for today. Yes, it was very central on me and on my own, history and my own story and stuff. But but yeah, it might be a good idea if you're interested in reincarnation in that area that you could look into that and see if see what your story is and see where you where you feel drawn as far as history is concerned, when particular events in history or particular time periods that you feel somehow drawn to, and there may be a reason and there may be some rationale behind it. So that's just a thought, and hope you, whatever you decide to do, or if anything, that you go forth and in joy and happiness, and that you find out what it is that you are seeking. So, with that said, I wish you a wonderful day. I hope you have a great day, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being here, and thank you for subscribing and for liking the video. This is all entertainment type of stuff, so it's not, there's nothing, massively intense about it. It's just me blathering about different things. So have a wonderful day, and as always, namaste.